Hey y'all ready for part two? All right, so today I'm in North Carolina, and my family in North Carolina want to hear about the serial killer. Y'all been waiting to hear about the serial killer? All right, for purposes of my journey, I am still at FAMU. I haven't even made it to law school yet, but for those who want to hear a little bit more about the serial killer, I'll give you a little bit more at the end. All right, but let me go back to the journey. All right, so I left off a senior at FAMU. For purposes of this video, I got to go backwards a little bit, just a little bit. The summer before my senior year at Florida A&M University, I was actually at UCLA. All right, I was doing a research program at UCLA, living on campus, doing the whole thing. I spent the whole summer there. All right, and while I was there, my best friend from high school called me, and she was in New York, and she told me that she had just gotten accepted into a doctoral program at FSU, and that she was going to be moving to Tallahassee because she was going to be a psychologist. So she was on a fast track on a doctoral program to be a psychologist. So we were excited about it, but she wanted to live with me. She wanted us to live together, to get a 2-bedroom apartment together. At that point, I'd had my 1-bedroom apartment for a while, and she wanted us to live together. So because this is my best friend and she's moving to my city, I gave up my 1-bedroom apartment and we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay. All right. So I started out my senior year at FAMU in a 2-bedroom apartment with my friend, my best friend, who was pursuing her doctorate in psychology, and I am now trying to go to law school, right? A few months later, my best friend decides that Tallahassee is too slow for her, and then she's moving back to New York. So, of course, I'm livid. Our friendship ended over that because now I'm stuck with a 2-bedroom apartment that I can't afford. It was a complete disruption to my life. To have to move and do all of those things for her to then change her mind a few months later and go back to New York. So I'm livid, okay? But on her way out, she injects a little bit of poison. She tells my boyfriend that she didn't think that I was going to get accepted into law school anyway because I don't have what it takes to get accepted into law school. I say, what? That was news to me. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that she felt that way about me, but I was devastated by it because this is my best friend since high school. I was really devastated that she felt that way, and it kind of caused me to second guess myself, which was different because I'd never second guessed myself up until that point, because being an attorney did not originate for me. When I was 5 years old, I was watching Perry Mason with my grandfather, and God showed me that that's what I was going to do when I grew up. He showed it to me. Now, I'm 5. I don't know anything about law or attorney. I don't know. My granddaddy told me it's called a lawyer. So now I know the name of it, but I don't know what this entails. I am learning my ABCs. I know that babies today learn it at 2. I was learning it at 5, right? I am in elementary school. I'm in kindergarten. I don't know anything about a profession, a job, or anything. I'm watching cartoons and I'm playing with my dolls. He revealed it to me, and now I see it, and now I know what I'm going to do. And then I just continue to follow that path. Right? Because I didn't come up with the idea. This is what he showed me. All right. So now I get to this point. I'm 22 years old. My best friend said, you don't have what it takes. What? At this point, I had already taken the LSAT, and I'd applied to 3 law schools. But because she had that opinion of me, it made me apply to 6 more. So I applied to a total of 9 law schools because now I'm concerned. Right? And I'm applying to real law schools like University of Southern California, UCLA, Florida State, University of Florida, University of Miami. I'm applying to real law schools. Of the 9 that I applied to, how many do you think I got accepted into? I got into all 9. I learned in that moment to never allow somebody else's opinion about me to cause me to doubt my walk. This is the path that God set for me. But it takes someone close to you to be able to shake you in that way. And that's what happened to me. And lo and behold, a year later, guess where she ended up? My friend who was getting her doctorate in psychology. She ended up in law school. Okay, look, I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. You know, the whole time we were in high school and we were best friends, I never knew she had any desire to be a lawyer. She never mentioned it. I would have loved to have known that, because I would have loved to have had somebody on that journey with me. Like, we could have tag teamed this thing. We could have been out here trying to save the world together. But I didn't, you know, that's not how that happened. And so I guess when she saw that I was able to do it, then she decided to do it. And she's a lawyer to this day. I ain't mad at it. But our friendship ended when she walked out of the door. But this is what I want to say. First of all, I had waited 17 years for a vision that I saw when I was 5. Now, at this point, it still hasn't manifested. I still haven't made it into law school, right? It took another 3 years before that happened, but I waited 20 years for that vision to be realized. So understand that when God shows you something and he has made you a promise that something is going to happen, it's going to happen. It may take time. There may be things you have to go through, tests you have to take, classes you have to take, you know, in terms of daily life. There are things that you have to go, but when you're ready, it's going to manifest. So it's going to happen. And a lot of times we get tired and it's taking too long, but it's going to happen. But I also want you to know, because the title of this video is Snakes in the Garden, that when you're on the path that God set for you, there will be snakes in the garden. That's going to happen. They're going to pop up, and it may be in the form of somebody that's close to you, that's whispering in your ear, trying to take you off the track. Okay? So we just need to be consistent, because when you start to see the snakes, know that you're closer to your goal and that you're on track. You're where you're supposed to be. Now, make sure you don't start dilly-dallying with the snakes and playing with the snakes, and it takes you backwards. You start back doing the things that you used to do and going places that you used to go. Just stay consistent. Be encouraged. You're on track. All right? So that's a part of my journey. Now, y'all want to talk about the serial killer. I'll give you a little bit more. Okay, for purposes of what I'm going to talk about now, I have had the opportunity to go into various correctional institutions during my 25 years. So from the smallest, a county jail holding cell where the police officer is still writing his probable cause affidavit, to in all of the correctional institutions in between, the county jails, prisons, all the way up to the Florida State Prison. And in Florida, the Florida State Prison, it used to be, at least back then, I don't know the status today, but it used to be where the worst of the worst were sent, the worst offenders. If they couldn't make it in these prisons around the state, they got sent there. And this is also the place where they house the death row inmates. It is also the place where the death penalty chamber is housed, and I've seen it. I've seen the death penalty chamber. So I have had the ability to, in these past 25 years, experience all forms of the correctional institutions, okay? And I have been in these institutions well over 100 times, okay? This particular time, and an attorney would have various reasons to go into a correctional institution. It could be because I have a client there. It could be because I'm going to see my client, and another attorney says, hey, can you go and see my client while you're there and tell them X, Y, Z. It could be because there's a witness there that I need to talk to. It could be because there's a victim there that I need to talk to, or someone who just knows about my case. Okay, but for whatever the reason is, I ended up in a correctional institution. Now, this particular institution, the place where the attorneys would talk to people, it is a room, and it's a completely metal room with a hard metal door. So a correctional officer has to open the door, and when the door closes, it locks. And a correctional officer has to open the door to let me out, because it locks as soon as it closes. So in order for me to get out of this room, I would have to get up and walk to a very small window and knock on the window to let the correctional officer know, wherever they are, to come and let me out. Okay. All right. So that is the situation that I was in, and I needed to go to the correctional institution to talk to a particular guy about a particular thing. I did not do any research on this man before I walked in that door. Okay, so when I came in there and I sat down, they brought him in the room and he had on red and white. When you typically see inmates like on TV or something like that, they normally have an orange. Red and white signifies that this is a violent offender. Okay, so I know at this point, whoever this guy is, he's a violent offender, which means nothing to me because I'm in and out of these facilities all the time. So he comes in, he has a seat. They close the door. He and I are in the room together. He does not have on handcuffs, but I think he has shackles on his feet. All right. And we're sitting on a table across from each other where we can actually touch each other. We're that close. All right. And so now we're talking. I introduce myself. I tell him why I'm there. And I learn in my conversation with him that he has several murder charges pending. Murders, plural. Okay. All right. So you got some murders pending. That's unusual for it to be more than one, but okay, that's fine. But I want to know, in relation to what I'm here for, what day did that happen? And I learned that it was multiple days. Oh, okay. Well, what city did that happen? Because I haven't heard anything about it. And then I learned that it is multiple locations. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what he's being held for. I don't know anything about these murders, but I start assuming some things. Okay, maybe it is a criminal organization type situation, or maybe it's gang related, or maybe it's drug related. But okay, it's fine, because I'm not here for that. I don't know anything about that. I'm not here for that. I'm here for this. And the thing that I was there for was very serious. It was very serious. And so I needed to talk to him about that particular thing. And as he talked to me about that thing, I was watching him and watching his facial expressions and watching how he was talking about this really, really very serious matter that I was there for. And I quickly came to the conclusion that this man isn't being held on murder charges related to anything that's criminal organization related. It's not related to any gangs. It's not related to drugs. I quickly came to the conclusion, based on what he was saying and how he was talking, that I was sitting in a room with a serial killer. I'll tell you a little bit more later. All right, that's part 2.